at 5. I'm Richardo Brooks, and it's time for the cover story. Now, 2 senior cabinet ministers have launched broadsides one against the Jamaica Gleaner and one against civil society organizations. Transport Minister Darrell Vaz issued a statement Tuesday morning that was prompted by the Gleaner's article titled "Golding Seeks Probe into $1.4 billion School Bus Deal." The newspaper reported that opposition leader Mark Golding had written in July 2025 to 3 of the country's anti-corruption bodies requesting an investigation into the Transport Ministry's procurement of 110 used school buses brought in from the United States. Now, the Transport Minister, in an interview on Nationwide this morning, alleged that the newspaper had been on a coordinated push to undermine the government.
Not only in relation to the school bus, but many other. And I just need to remind you and ask the listeners to look at who is it that has been on a campaign to destroy Andrew Holness. Where do those articles come from every week, week in, week out, during election, before election, and after election?
Darrell Vaz there, the Transport Minister, he says he plans to expose what he claims is a coordinated attempt to undermine the Holness government. For his part, the National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, accused civil society organizations of living off blood money. In an interview on Nationwide this morning, yesterday, he name-dropped Jamaicans for Justice several times. He was reacting to the advocacy of civil society organizations, saying that they consistently undermine the work of the police force for financial gain. Dr. Chang argued that the consistent broadsides against the police from the groups was selfish and unfair.
There was what I consider a broadside, an unjust, selfish, and cruel broadside against police officers because they weren't using cameras.
By whom?
It was designed by various people in the community. There were the Jamaican for Justice, others who claim their right to life, as some of the pastors who claim they know more about policing than police, and just given a highlighting some section of the media.
Dr. Horace Chang there, the National Security Minister, he says the civil society groups are criticizing the police for their own benefit.
When the police are praying the murderers, if one gets shot, the police are murderer. That kind of discussion must be discontinued. I have to raise it because it's a young Jamaican right, committed to justice and right, whose commitment to fair play is being questioned. And they will have the strength and the training to withstand it when their families start being alluded to in public spaces. It becomes a problem. The people in Jamaica for Justice and other areas must stop this. They are living off blood money.
Dr. Horace Chang. We're now being joined by the Principal Director of National Integrity Action, NIA, Dr. Gavin Mars, for a reaction. Dr. Mars, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm good.
Let's start with the Security Minister. Were you surprised?
I don't know if surprise puts it in perspective good enough. I frankly don't understand what is happening, and I'm still confused as to 1, where it is coming from, and 2, what is the aim of it. I think the commentary was unfortunate and inconsistent with the partnership and collaborative approach that we have been having. And then beyond that, I think we're losing the plot. If we're building Jamaica together and we're all citizens of Jamaica, we all have a constitutional right to both seek information, to share information, and to speak up on things. So anyone who is saying that doing that is dangerous, I'm questioning what is it dangerous to, and whom is it that is asking for it to be dangerous? So I'm really confused.
Yeah. Let me ask the question this way, as I've heard it put, that a lot of the times the civil society groups posture in a way and their advocacy is done in a way that makes things worse than they appear, because in so doing, they're able to secure the funding of international donors to pursue whatever projects are being proposed. Is that true?
Well, I don't know of anyone else, but I am very certain that what the work that we have been doing, and I say we here, because civil society is a broad group that is collaborating and working together, and we work in partnership. So it's critical to point out something here. most of the funding that has come into Jamaica and the development space come from the same spaces. You're talking about the United Nations, you're talking about the European Union, you're talking about FCDO, you're talking about former USAID, now the US government. All of these things, both the government and civil society get funding to do things around certain priorities. And these priorities are national priorities. So if you're saying that the national priorities are not good, then that's an issue. But I'm very certain that we, as Jamaicans, have recognized that crime and violence is an issue. And along with crime and violence, the other issue, is anti-corruption and integrity in public office. And asking for our civil society partners, asking of them something that the government isn't doing is rather strange. I know we're doing well as a society and as a community. And I know we have championed this, but I'm saying that we are part of the solution. So anybody who attempts to attack us, I think I don't know what is happening there.
But in saying you're part of the solution, would you agree or would you deny the criticism that there's a posture that says everything government does is wrong or not being done well, and therefore that gives the impression of being anti-government, or in this case, as the security minister is suggesting, anti-police?
Well, for me, first and foremost, I believe that if I elect you and if I am paying your salary, so I'm saying both the executive and the general government, I am saying that, one, that we're expecting a certain, follow the constitution. We're expecting a certain, follow the rules. We're expecting a certain thing from you because you're government. There's no association of gunmen for me to talk to. There's no association of thieves for me to talk to. I'm expecting you not to behave like a gunman. I'm not saying that you are, and I'm just saying that I'm expecting that the type of behavior and conversation that we are asking and we're holding you to account for is the one that we hold everyone to. Is the one that everyone should be held to. You are held to the account because you are the government, you are the state, you are the ones with the inordinate power, you are the ones who have the power, and we should hold you accountable. If we don't, who can we hold accountable?
Two questions after the break. Stay with me. Dr. Gavin Myers, the Principal Director of NIA. Richardo Brooks, 2 ministers in 2 days, one taking aim at civil society groups, accusing Jamaicans for Justice of living off blood money, the other taking aim at the media, specifically the Jamaica Gleaner, accusing it of being part of a cabal that is intent on taking down the government. Principal Director of NIA, Dr. Gavin Myers, is with me. Let me go back to the point of how government operates, and you asked the question, who holds the government accountable? But Jamaicans, a lot of Jamaicans say, but who do you speak on behalf of? And the problem, let me finish. And the problem they have is that, look, the advocacy always seems to be suggesting that you speak on behalf of a lot of people, when in truth, we lost him. Oh, Dr. Gavin Myers is with me, the Principal Director of National Integrity Action, reacting to two broadsides from two senior cabinet ministers, one yesterday, the Deputy Prime Minister and Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, and this morning, the Transport Minister, Darrell Vaz. We're trying to reconnect with him. The accusation from Dr. Chang, JFJ, and Dr. Myers.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, back with me. So, right. So the allegation goes something like, but you don't speak on behalf of the majority of Jamaican people, and still you posture as if you do. And so they say, why? Why?
So, two things on that. And maybe the first is that in a free and fair and clear democracy, people, citizens, general citizens have a right to speak. That's the first.
Yeah.
And second, which is also very important, is that groups, whether they're civil society of any sort, the church, the business community, different ones, have groups that they speak on, their own groupings. But beyond that, these points that we're making in a democracy allows us to speak. And if there is someone who is trying to say that we do not have the right to speak, they're incorrect. And Jamaicans have, since 1838 and before that.
But is it a matter of not having the right to speak, or is it a matter of asking you to be fair and balanced
And
as
we
best
are
you
fair.
can. Yeah.
No, the point of fair and balance is this. You're asking, and this is the case, if the state, if someone who is in power is asking us to be fair and balanced, who is the one who makes the balance? We're the ones who are saying to you that this went away from the rules, that this is breaching the rules, that this one is going this way, and you're saying to me that is not fair. No, that is incorrect. I'm saying to you, this is incorrect. If you're going to say to me you're presenting a different argument, that's okay, but you cannot expect us to, one, be silent, or two, hold our disagreement because you don't like it. No one who is doing wrong has ever liked being told that they're doing wrong. That's the first.
And so the assumption there is that when you speak, the government is in fact doing wrong.
The assumption is if we say something, we are asking you to follow whether it is built on the facts and if the facts carry through. I'm saying that civil society, and we're speaking here, and I'm speaking generally on this. If civil society says this is the point that we're raising, argue with us on that.
Yeah.
Argue with us and say to us that, look here, you made this assumption, or you made this point, you're incorrect, or we did this. Do not do the ad hominem responses or attacks. Do not use those hyperbolic or those bombastic words. Use actual clear statements that you did this and you're incorrect there. No, having us in some way, putting us in a position that some people are cowering in fear. There are persons who now have to get armed security because of statements that are being said. It's incorrect and wrong. It's an open democracy that people have a right to participate in.
What do you say to those who say you don't split justice fairly? That you see,
know what is split.
Yeah, let me finish the question. That you see everything wrong with the government, but then when there might be something requiring speaking up that affects the opposition, there's silence. Because you know there are some who say that. National Integrity Action and civil society, it would be very difficult, and I'm using the words clear here, it would be very difficult to say to someone that is out of power, that is not in power, to say that they are, one, breaching a rule that is based upon governing. So, and I'm going to use, you're using the point about the People's National Party. If the People's National Party breach a rule, they breach a rule. But if the government, if the government is doing something wrong, they should call it out. This trying to say the whataboutism is absolutely incorrect. If you're in government, you're in government. I have no recollection of at any point where the people who are here speaking haven't spoken out on things that are wrong, regardless of who is speaking. It is important to look at that. You speak out and you call out things. So I hear you correct then that you don't think the civil society groups have any function to play in holding the opposition to account? Did I misunderstand that?
If the opposition has done something, they should be called out.
But the criticism is that when something seems amiss, there is not that calling out in the same consistent way that there is for the government, which is why I'm saying that the allegations that you don't split the justice evenly or fairly.
That the government, and I'm trying to be as understand as possible.
And by that you mean the executive?
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah. So the executive, right? The executive, it does something and it gets called out. And the response here is that why we aren't focused on the opposition? If the executive of the country is doing something, asking me why I'm not focused on the opposition is, I don't know if out of place is the right word. I'm not sure.
But if something at the let's say for argument's sake, something's happening at the same time and it's in the public domain. And it's been in the public domain for a while and there's silence. And then as soon as there's a misstep from the government, there's a comment, but there was silence when there was a similar misstep or a misstep of any kind from the opposition. Are you saying that in that instance, you don't think you have a duty or responsibility to speak on that?
I am saying that. And if we look at it always.
You are saying that?
No.
Sorry, I did. Oh, because I thought that's what you said.
I was saying, I'm saying that as I was going
to say what you were saying. Okay, got you. Okay.
Yeah. When we're speaking about integrity in the public office, everybody who is in the public office should feel like we are speaking to them, of them, and about them. That's the first.
Okay.
The second thing is, at any point when someone and anyone else has created an agenda to say, okay, how come they haven't spoken about this? How come they haven't spoken about that? I think they are more trying to muddy waters rather than asking us clearly what is our position on things. Because oftentimes, and this is me speaking from Gavin's point of view, oftentimes people have asked me, what if you said on something? When if they had done a cursory, they'll realize A, that I'd said something already, or B, that it's not within the remit of what the National Integrity Action or Gavin speaks on. So there's that bad faith type of approach that happens sometimes. And it's kind of hurtful, and it distracts from the work that we're trying to do. Because we're not trying to gotcha anybody. We're trying to say Jamaica needs better, and Jamaica deserves better, and we need to work together.
Okay, so could there be...
Nobody's wrong with that. You don't wrong me on that.
No, but could there be any truth then to the perception, and sometimes, perception it becomes reality, that the way the advocacy comes across, it feels like there's an attempt at gotcha. Would you accept that that is possible?
So perceptions are created by people, right? So if I deliver something to you and how you perceive it comes off a certain way, that's on you as much as possible. My goal and my role in this is actually, one, to be clear about what it is I'm saying, two, to tell you how it is constructed, and three, on top of that, is to reiterate that, look here, what we're aiming to is to build a better Jamaica. But what you find out, and this is most important than this, we're in a perception environment where certain actors have felt, first and foremost, that there should be no response, or anyone should speak after their phone or speak about what they've said, which is very difficult. So
essentially then the government ministers are just thin-skinned. There's no truth to
I have not called a government minister thin-skinned.
No, but you seem to be saying that you think the gentleman does protest too much.
What I'm clear on is this, that at no point any one of us should actually cower in fear to be called that we're using blood money when they get funding from the same source that the government gets funding from. That's one. And then two, that someone shouldn't give us the right to speak up because we have that. So I'm clear that Jamaicans generally have the right to speak up, and civil society speak up as part of the general public. So we have that. But I'm also very clear to say that when people do this, it has impact. When the state, when government, when ministers want to say that something is wrong, they have the right to say it. But we also have a right to say this is wrong too. And attempting to either force us to cover or to tell us that we cannot speak, it's wrong.
How would you assess the state of the relationship between civil society, broadly speaking, now, and the government?
I would, no, this is me speaking from National Integrity Action has worked in partnership with the government on different things. Within the Ministry of National Security, we do trainings, we do workshops, we have very great relationship within the Ministry of National Security and this has been under every Minister of National Security, including the present one. We have also worked with different ministers. We have worked in partnership because we are part of the broader civil society. We are on the Partnership Council. We're working in different working groups. We offer relationship building both in Jamaica, in the diaspora, and with other groupings. So we have great relationships there. Another thing I should point out, our advocacy in terms of people-to-people support is critical in reaching certain groups that feel underserved or the state has yet to reach. In fact, during Hurricane Mesta, we can speak about this, that civil society was one of the first people to reach in every community. So we are partners there. We are great partners.
Should Dr. Chang apologize?
Dr. Chang should know what he has said. Dr. Chang should know what he has said is not in good faith, and he should do the right thing.
And what is that?
He should apologize. He should accept that whatever was happening, it was out of sync and out of place.
Dr. Gavin Myers, thank you. I appreciate your time as always.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, have a good one. Dr. Gavin Myers, the Principal Director of National Integrity Action. That's all the time I have for the cover story. The headlines are next.